Good afternoon, everybody. I want to welcome y'all to Four Corners Boxing Talk. My name's Chris, formerly of BSPN Radio. I'm here with Nick. We got a fighter profile we're going to do on Gennady Golovkin. Is he legit or is he hype? You there, Nick?
I'm here.
All right. What we're going to do is we're going to touch up. You go through social media a lot. You hear a lot about Golovkin. And, is he the real deal? Is, questioning his resume and such and such. Also, he hasn't fought nobody yet that can push him into deep waters. I mean, there comes a time in a fighter's career that you say, hey, maybe nobody can push him into deep water in or around his weight class. So what we're going to do is kind of run through his resume a little bit, run through his career. Questions remain like, why did it take him so long to become a known name? Does he have the skill level of an elite level fighter? Stuff like that. As we start, I'll start by saying my opinion is he's as legit as it gets in the fight game. What do you think?
He's absolutely legit. He is definitely number one middleweight in the world. He has proven that. I think it's foolish for anybody to question it. All the top fighters, they don't want to fight him.
No, they don't go out of their way to fight him by no means. That's for sure. There's guys in the sport that are, you can call them feared, you can call them what you want, or they're too big a risk to the O. The zero on the end of a record has become way too big a deal in boxing to me, in my opinion. Thank you, Floyd Mayweather, for that. But it's just the way it is. It's the way it is. And so as we go back and we look at Gennady Golovkin, all right, he's a product of Kazakhstan. All right, he represented Kazakhstan in the Olympics in 2004. He represented him in the Junior Olympics in 2000. His two older brothers died, before he ever went to the Olympics. They both died during a conflict with Russia and stuff like that. And he's got a twin brother named Max, who many say, skill level wise, was better than Gennady. But in 2004, the parents had to make a decision which brother would represent Kazakhstan in the Olympics. Is what it boiled down to. They both fought in the same weight class. They're twins, so you can see his twin brother in his corner now. His name's Maxim Golovkin. He works the corner for Gennady now. And he's kind of like, he's the communication between Golovkin and most, if you hear somebody talking in Russian, that's generally his brother. But, so in 2004, when the parents made the decision, Max wasn't as into the sport as Gennady was, So they sent Gennady to the Olympics, and he represented Kazakhstan well. The guy that beat him was a two-time Olympian at that time. He'd won the silver in 2000. And then while winning the silver in 2000, he beat Jeff Lacey. Everybody knows who Jeff Lacey is. And so when he fought Golovkin in 2004, he definitely had an advantage at that time.
Also should be noted, in the quarterfinals, he beat Andre Durrell.
Yes, he did. Before ever facing Godorbov, he fought Andre Durrell. And I'm trying to think, I think the score was 23-18, something like that.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, that's what I thought it was. And that fight's available on YouTube if anybody really wants to watch it. And, the biggest thing that I hear from his detractors is he gets hit too much. He don't have no defense. All right.
Well, I think he kind of tries to trick his opponents into a firefight. His chin's held up. He hasn't been in with, super dominant punches, but he has been in with the likes of Curtis Cat Stevens, and Stevens hit him, and Triple G, he ate it.
He ate it. He gave him that look, man. And I tell you what, if you're a fighter and you're standing across from that little guy He tucks that chin and looks at you like, "Come on." You're on borrowed time at that moment.
You don't rethink if you want to be in that ring.
Exactly. When he gives you that nod and looks at you, you're on borrowed time. He gave it to Lemieux. And Lemieux's probably the hardest puncher he's been in with. Lemieux is probably, in all honesty, the hardest one-punch puncher in the middleweight division. Golovkin systematically breaks you down. And he's got bricks for hands. Everybody I've talked to about it that's been in the ring with him, sparred with him, what have you, will tell you, man, when he hits you, it's a thudding shot. I mean, every time he hits you.
I mean, you can ask Kell Brooks about that.
Yeah, well, you can definitely ask his orbital bone. But hey, that brings me to a thing. I went through a big debate with a guy today about the upcoming Brook fight with Earl Spence. They're like, Spence gonna knock him out. I'm like, man, I'm not so sure about that. This guy took a beating from Golovkin for 5 rounds and still didn't go down. You know what I mean?
Man, he didn't ever look hurt in that fight. When your orbital bone's cracked, your corner did the right thing by stopping it.
Yes, Engel did the right thing. He sure did. You could see him. You could see where he threw the towel over his face between the rounds, and he was feeling that bone. He could tell it was broke. Then when he started taking that pounding in the 5th, he threw the towel in. He said, "That's enough. He's going to end up getting hurt bad if not." That's exactly what he did. All right. Like I said, I'm going to run through his resume a little bit and who Golovkin is. Everybody knows how long, he's been a world champion. He became a world champion he was still under his original promotional contract. Universal Box was a company out of Germany that has since filed for bankruptcy. I think they filed for bankruptcy in 2012, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. And they were also the promoters for Felix Sturm and Sebastian Zibic. Both of those guys were middleweight champions. All right. They wasn't allowing Golovkin to get the fight that he needed with them. All right. They wasn't allowing. They were kind of like holding him back. He entered a lawsuit to get out of that contract in, I believe, 2010, if I'm not mistaken. And in 2011, he kind of freelanced when he fought Kasim Oma, and I'm trying to think of who else it was right after that. I can't really remember off the top of my head. But he moved on to Lawan something. Yeah, that's right. And then he went to K2 Promotions, which is owned by the Battalion Vladimir Klitschko, and ran by Tom Loeffler. All right. Now, his manager at the time was trying to look out for Golovkin, and he's the one that actually entered it. It was Maximilian Herman. He tried, and he's actually the one that put him in contact with Loeffler in K2. And since then, he's come to America, and I hear he ain't fought nobody. Well, the fact of the matter is, guys, you can look at any world champion throughout all 17 divisions. He's fought more top 10 ranked fighters than anybody in the sport since he come to America in 2012.
I mean, let's say he hadn't fought anybody in 2013. He fought Macklin, knocked him out in 3.
Yeah. At that time, Macklin was a top 5 middleweight. Yep. Stevens knocked him out. Well, he's knocked out everybody for 23 fights in a row, so, that kind of goes without saying, but Stevens was a top 10 ranked middleweight. His first
Daniel Gill,
top 3 ranked middleweight at the time of the fight. Rubio wasn't. Okay. Now, the guy I think is the best name on his resume, in all honesty, is Martin Murray.
Yep.
If anybody remembers, at the time they fought back in 2015, Murray had come off a fight, not right before that, but previously he had fought Sergio Martinez in a fight that many people felt like he got robbed. If that don't happen in Argentina, in Martinez's home country, Murray probably gets the decision, considering he had the only knockdown. He landed the most, you know what I mean? So Murray was a very legitimate contender. And he lasted the longest. I think that was 11th round TKO for Golovkin.
Yeah, it was.
But Murray has since went up to super middleweight and fought some of the biggest names up there. Abraham,
Yeah, well, split decision.
lost a split decision to Arthur Abraham. Now, I don't like to use the triangle theory in boxing because it's about useless. It goes completely against what everybody says styles make fights, and they do. Styles do make fights completely. But then you got some guys that styles don't affect. Golovkin's one of those type of fighters that it really is irrelevant which type of style he's in there with. He's gonna
adapt.
He's gonna adapt. He's gonna fight. He's gonna
make them fight his game.
Exactly. He goes in with the game plan. We can look at right after Murray, he fought Willie Monroe. Monroe's probably the slickest boxer he's fought. Okay, he just didn't have no power, and Golovkin figured that out real quick, and just went on a seek and destroy mission. Basically,
it's kind of scary.
It is scary. Then you come back, and I remember leading into the Lemieux fight in October 2015. How many times I heard people say, "Man, he got hit too much by Monroe." Remember the fourth round against Monroe? I'm like, yeah, I remember the fourth round real well. That was Monroe's best round. It was the first time I'd seen somebody put that much leather on Golovkin, really. But
too bad he didn't have any pop.
Exactly. He had none. I said, if you honestly think a guy that's 345 as an amateur don't have any defense, you got something wrong with you, man. You don't understand how they keep score in amateur boxing, obviously. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's basically it.
Hit and not get hit. That's the key to amateur boxing.
Hit and don't get hit.
Exactly. And he'd been in with, look at 1, 2, 3. He'd been in with numerous world champions as an amateur. So, he's used to every kind of style there is. He's seen it all.
Nothing's going to surprise him.
No. And I'll be honest with you. I don't see nobody in the middleweight division or the super middleweight division that can beat him, honestly.
No, it's going to take a gargantuan effort from the likes of Ward. I don't see Kovalov beating him.
No, I don't either. I really don't. And at one time, I might have differed from that. Ward exposed the weakness in Kovalev, which I knew he was going to. I remember me and you talking about that fight before it happened. We both knew what was going to happen in that fight.
He's going to get inside and make them fight inside.
Yeah. And he couldn't do that to Golovkin. Golovkin has an inside game,
He also has that one-hit power.
Exactly. Which, on the inside, Kovalev has that one-hit power, but it's got to come from distance. He's got to get full extension on his punches.
Yep, that's why I knew Ward would beat him.
Yeah, that's it. And I won't get into the talk about whether Ward won or Kovalev won or you thought it was a draw or whatever. That's really neither here nor there as far as Golovkin's concerned.
That's right.
I honestly believe he could give Ward a better fight than Kovalev and possibly beat Andre Ward if they met at a catch weight. They'd have to meet at 168 or something because, Golovkin don't even walk around at 175.
Man, he's a small middleweight.
He really is. He's a small middleweight. And I've heard people, they'll go, he fought at super middleweight in the Olympics. I'm like, there's no super middleweight division in amateur boxing. 165 is a middleweight in amateur boxing. Just because he fought at the 165 limit, that's 165 all the way down to 152. He could have fought anywhere in that weight, he could have weighed anywhere in between there. I remember when I fought as an amateur, I was fighting 152-pound division. I might come in weighing 143, 145,
Yeah.
As long as I was under the 152, it didn't matter.
That's how amateur boxing is.
Yeah, it's exactly how it is. But now Ward did fight as a light heavyweight in the very same Olympics that Golovkin fought, and won the gold medal. Last American to do so. But yeah, he did. I think Stevenson would have won one this year if it wasn't for Ramirez, the Cuban sensation over there.
Well, there's Cubans in amateur boxing. It's kind of hard to beat them. They're 30 years old fighting.
Yeah, they come over here and they're turning pro at 32.